I think I'll keep admitting people as we're going along. So I think you're going to talk about the first few bits anyway, I recall. So I think we'll kick off. If I can just say a big thank you to everybody who's with us so far. And I will be in the background admitting any late arrivals. But I shall pass over to Nikki just to kick off to begin with before we start the actual demo. So over to you, Nikki.
Okay, so today's all about, I guess, our NTM intro or re-intro, as we should say. And what is the fuss all about? Well, we've come a long way. So hopefully you can see the journey that we've had since May, which does seem to be a little bit of a roller coaster, but we are really, really proud of the work that's gone on. The development work has been exactly how we needed it to be, and we're really excited to share our employability ecosystem with you. This is part of our overall delivery mechanism to ensure that we're providing that lifelong support mechanism for individuals. We'll give you a little bit of an insight to how the new personal profile piece is working and what that looks like, and a lot of the new functionality that we've built in. And we're very, very proud and pleased to have some of our key ambassadors here, of which you will hear from. And also we want to talk a little bit more about how the benefits are going to support that wide audience of schools, employers, etc. So it's a much more of a dynamic solution now from the work that's gone on in the background. But please feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll be happy to clarify or show you any other pieces that you're looking for. So a big welcome, and we'll kick on. So our vision, as you probably already know, is to enable everyone, regardless of age, background, circumstance or label, to be able to showcase their true talents and potential. So that still is very much the core of what we're doing, and I think that's still very important even today with all the challenges that we've got with the marketplace. So we're very much aligned to our vision, and I know a lot of our partners are very much aligned to that as well. And from our perspective, it's all about that safe and inclusive, innovative platform. So it's about having those partnerships in order to showcase that potential. And I think it's very cool for us as part of our mission is to provide access to, so that people have got those genuine opportunities across the board. So that's about, you know, that seamless opportunity to be able to be seen and to be found more than anything. But talents are truly important, and we feel that even today now, with all the challenges that we've got, that this is going to be pivotal for a lot of people who are trying to reinvent themselves. So I know a lot of you already know who we are and what we do, but from our perspective, we just wanted to perhaps tell a little bit more to those of you who are a little bit new to us. So what is Naturally Talented Me? Well, it's a profile builder for all. So it's all about showcasing your portfolio. It's that visible piece, that imagery that actually showcases who you are, and actually demonstrates that, you know, those core drivers, passions and behaviours are really key to people seeing the potential that you've actually got. We are a community resource to really support those furthest from the job market, but as already mentioned, those are potentially even further from the job market now, when we add on the layer of the challenges of COVID-19. And, you know, we do still feel that this is about supporting communities who really are struggling to find work, and to find new avenues, not necessarily full-time jobs, but finding opportunities that they can get involved in. We are still very much a careers platform for schools and colleges, and our intervention partners as well. We are heavily aligned now to the Gatsby benchmarks, which I know is going to be challenging for you know, a lot of educational establishments because of the lockdown. And I think at the end of the day, I think being able to have a platform that can support students in a wide range of careers opportunities is even more important today. So we are very heavily focused in how we can align and support people in driving forward with those careers pieces in the Gatsby benchmarks. And it is a talent matching platform for employers. We appreciate that a lot of employers are also having to reinvent themselves and potentially to look for new avenues of talents because their marketplace has changed, and also the way they work has started to change. And I think from our perspective, it's been very much pivotal for us to start looking at how we can encourage people to think differently about how you source and identify talent. And the platform really does enable people to be able to do that. It's also really quite a good workforce planning and deployment tool for employers. A lot of employers will have to now start thinking about the current staff that they have and how they can realign those to the new way of working. And so by utilising the platform within an organisation, by profiling the individual employees, it's going to give a greater insight into what talents are available within the business, how they can realign them, and how they can help them to build the new workforce of the future. And parts of what we're doing with Naturally Talented Me is all about that careers guidance piece, not just for students in education, but I think it's also important for those individuals who are looking for new opportunities. And there's going to be quite a few people who will need to do that. And it's a great way of measuring success and track outcomes, so we can have a really good view of what type of talent is out in the marketplace, and what that demographic looks like. And it's all about identifying, presenting and hiring new talent. You know, we all know everybody's looking to do that at the moment. We all know that people are looking for those opportunities, and NTM is about pulling all of those together.
Come on, why is my
I've gone quiet.
Why is it not moving? There we go. Okay. So
there we go.
Talent patrons. So some big shout outs and thank yous for some early adopters of the platform. I know some, if not all, are present at the moment on the call. So I know Henry is with us from the Change Foundation. We'll be hearing from him and the support he's been able to give us to date and his potential plans for the platform. We've had some fantastic support from the Mayor's Construction Academy, which I'll come on to in just a moment. Our friends at My Kind of Future, I think Will is on the call, and Becky, so thanks guys for your support, and never more aligned to a talent being collaborative than the evidence we've had from yourselves. John Peters from Monkey Business, who was one of our speakers on the first crowdfunding launch right at the end of May, with some amazing stories. And talking of amazing, the amazing Amanda, who's helped us from Strive Development, and also part of the Mayor's Construction Academy. So some fantastic support from Amanda. Thank you for that. James at Sales Confidence, don't think he's with us today, but been very, very helpful in terms of his mentoring and support and advice and where we've been going. And he's asked me to say this, but the legendary, handsome and 6'1" and 1/4 inch Darren Hardy from Fortitude Front. Unfortunately, he's not on the call just at the moment. He'll be with us in 5 minutes. So that's his unfortune that he's missed that little plug, but very grateful to him. He'll be with us shortly. The guys at Zoom for the platform, and Tony Hepburn, the creative thinking behind the profile I'm about to show you and share how the platform works. So real big shout out to those early talent patrons. If any of you are listening in thinking, ooh, wonder what that's about, how could we maybe be a talent patron for a talent that's very relevant and resonates with our business, please do get in touch, because there's many talents behind the system that drives this whole model that could be associated with you and the promotion that comes with that. So please do get in touch. I mentioned about the Mayor's Construction Academy, and in partnership with London School of LSBU. Thank you so much to you guys for your early support and your early belief in the platform and the work we've been doing with you. We're going to be showcasing some of that as we go through the demo, and also to the Breyer Foundation for the grant support that they've been able to give us and the belief in the platform as well. So you guys have been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. So a really big thank you, and hopefully we can progress and partner together and build something amazing. Just a little bit before I open up the platform and just show you how it works and what it does. bit of a timeline. I won't read it all out. You can all read this, I'm sure. Probably the real pertinent part for us is in March 2020, we set up the business as a community interest company. And the intent behind that is that at least 65% of any profits that we make go back into the communities that we're supporting through the platform. So that's our SEND communities, ex-offender, ex-military, over 50s, particularly those communities that struggle most to get into employment and to be seen and to be recognised for their talents and potential. So we felt that a community interest company was the right way to go. Because it is about helping those communities and supporting them to progress and develop. Some of you might have been at the crowdfunding launch at the end of May, and since then, that's when all the activity's been going on behind the scenes. Shout out to Darren Waller, who I know is on the call, who's been our development lead and managing the development team, and spending many late nights, I know, and frustrating conversations with myself and Nikki about last minute changes. So appreciate your patience, and keep an eye on the platform whilst I'm demoing it, just in case, and you can jump in. And we're today, that's where we got to with the launch of the platform and our supporting employability ecosystem, which I'll just very quickly show you, and then we'll be straight into the platform. So there it is. The employability ecosystem looks a little bit complex. There's not everything on there. I just wanted to give you a snapshot, but basically the way it works is you have a funnel at the top, which is where all the potential candidates and job seekers and outreach programs fill the funnel with all of those looking to be supported through the platform. And particularly, as I've mentioned, that's around SEND and ex-offender and ex-military and older workers, and those displaced as a result of COVID who've ended up with sectors that have been decimated. And we see it on the news all the time, the increasing numbers of redundancies and job losses, people not really knowing where they're going to go next. And I know it's a massive challenge. I've had big conversations with Gary at Furleen, and I think there may be some individuals from that Furleen community, which is basically people who've been furloughed and are leaning on each other for support. So this is for everybody really to reimagine what you could be. Maybe not the same way as Rishi Sunak's latest model, where I ended up as a boxer and a football referee, I believe. And I've seen all sorts of other potential suggested pivoting is the new word of the moment, of where people can reimagine what they can become. So we believe our model's a little more accurate in terms of the recommendations it gives you. So you go into the platform, you're then either matched to some live jobs and opportunities, whether that's work experience, internship, apprenticeship, traineeships, potentially linking up with JCPs for kickstart opportunities. But if there isn't a direct opportunity that matches your talents in the system to begin with, then you are also within a talent pool where you can access further support, further training, further mentoring, further information about communities and sectors that you may be interested in. And that I shall show you straight away by going into the platform. So I'm hoping this is going to work. If you can let me know, Nikki, what you can see on the screen, that would be very useful. Give it a second.
I'm just seeing the link at the moment.
Can you see the login page?
No.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me reshare.
Yeah.
Okay, should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
This is the entry point for anybody who is an individual coming in wanting to profile themselves on Naturally Talented Me. If you are an individual looking to profile yourself, it is a free service. There is no charge, there is no catch. You go in, you set up your profile, and you can then share that profile with anybody you like, employers, potential work experience, whatever it may be. I will talk about some of the ring fence communities that we're able to set up that will be appropriate for schools, colleges, organisations, intervention partnerships in just a second. But this is for the individual. This is what it looks like. So you log in, and I'm going to log in and have been given permission, I hasten to add, by one of our dear friends of the programme, Tony. And assuming I can remember how to log in, this is what you end up with. And I'll just talk you through some of the new features, because if you saw the original version, this does now look quite different. So a little bit of explanatory text here on the left. You then have an option to associate yourself with and join communities. And there's a number of those particular communities, and we'll be adding more as we're working with other community partners as we go along. But particularly there's the option to have content pushed to your own platform associated with the communities that you're a member with, and to display that association if you wish, or if you don't wish to, you don't have to, and you can still receive that information, which we're building currently. Really important piece, which is a development, is your ability to associate yourself with a particular industry that you may be interested in. And the first one up there is construction. Because of our partnership with the Mayor's Construction Academy and LSPU and the Braille Foundation, we're really pleased to be able to showcase in a moment what that construction login looks like and what you get if you're a member of that industry. And again, by being a member and expressing an interest, you'll receive content and information about that sector. And we're currently building out all these other sectors and looking for potential partners and sponsors of those sections as we go through. Final bit that's different, and this is a stance that we've taken, is that we believe it is important that we do not hide behind our own personality and our background and our circumstance and who we are. So we enable people to show or not show if they wish, and they can choose not to show their gender, their ethnicity, their age, and any disabilities they may have. The theory being, and the concept being, that we believe people will be judged on their talents, regardless of who they are from their background, and that we should be celebrating who we are and where we're from, because that is the only way that we're going to break down the barriers where there is potential discrimination. So the diversity piece for us is really important, but it still remains optional for people to show that or not. So what I will do before I go in and show you the finished profile is I'll show you how you build one. So this is what the process you would go through. I'm delighted that Amanda's just joined us. And this is how you edit your profile and your details. So the first thing to show is that you can hide your contact details if you wish. So it is in your control to hide your contact details or not. If you're an under 16 and part of a community, those contact details will be hidden automatically and will not be shown. So in terms of your contact details, this is going into Tony's profile. This is where you put your information. This is where you can put your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, any descriptive text that supports you and what you're about. Very simple, looks a bit like a Facebook type profile. The guts of the system now is how you build your talents. And this is based around your hobbies and your interests. We have had lots of discussions, had lots of investigative reports and research that we've done in terms of the association of hobbies and interests with employability traits. And what we're starting to prove and show, the more and more we're displaying this and working with it, is there is a very strong link between what you love to do voluntarily, your hobbies, your pastimes, your interests, and the employability traits that employers look for. So you literally go through and select from a very long list of weird and wonderful, some of these hobbies and interests. We probably won't have everything, because there are some things that I just don't even know exist as a hobby, but those can be requested through the button at the top to suggest a new hobby, and we'll then add it with associated talents. You then end up with your own selected hobbies and some information that you can put in about your own personal hobbies. And that starts to build your talents, as I'll show you in a second. The other piece that's had really good feedback is the ability to identify interests through visual representation and relevant photos and imagery. And this has gone down very well with the SEND community particularly, and others, because it is more visual and has resonated well with many of the SEND students that we've been working with. So you pick the ones that you feel there is an emotional or emotive link to, things that resonate with you. And you can see some of these pictures that are coming out at the moment that will help build Tony's profile. So if you can remember some of those, that will be interesting. Next bit is just to define some of those talents that have been presented. So once you've gone through those two phases, you end up with a list of your top 10 talents. And for them to show on your profile, you need to put a little bit of text, just to put it in context and just to explain why being independent is something that is relevant to you. So if you're doing it yourself, that may be, that's fine. If you're working within a school or a college, it could be that your mentor or your careers advisor can help you with that and help you complete those bits of information. And then the next couple of bits, and we're almost there, is your learning style. How do you like to access information? And that's a drop-down list. And then how do you evidence, how do you evidence your hobbies and your interests through photos and imagery and video? And this is a really important part that starts to build a portfolio. So that's how you build it. That's what you do. And this is what it looks like. So before I go any further, I'll just ask the rhetorical question that what do we think Tony does? Tony here is sitting in the outdoors, and most people say that they think Tony is ex-military or outdoorsy of some sort, which is absolutely right. It's a bit of a giveaway, bearing in mind he's supporting the military community here. That's interesting. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Get rid of that. I do apologise, you can't plan these things. So this is Tony, and yes, he is an ex-military, but that isn't what he wants to be known for necessarily. He has a number of other traits and abilities and talents that really resonate with him, and that's what he wants to bring to the fore when he's looking for employment. So you can see these now here, and you can see the descripting factors that he put when he was filling in his profile. And when you start scrolling down, you start to reveal what Tony's actually about. So you start seeing some of the uniqueness of the Naturally Talented Me profiling tool. So the ability to pull together a word cloud. This has been really useful for many students to be able to laminate it, take it away, refer to it in their day bags, and as something that's a real positive affirmation of the things that are good and strong about them. And you can print that off and you can do what you like with it, but it's a really good reference point. And then you start seeing the gallery of evidence and the portfolio. And I was on a call yesterday where we were talking about a special school that had their own internal work experience programs where they served in cafes, they served in hubs, and I think they had a working farm. And capturing some of that evidence in either pictorial form or in video form is a great way to demonstrate an individual's potential rather than just a one-dimensional CV. So you can upload videos. There's a piece here of Tony talking to camera about himself, Tony in the raw. There's a piece about one of his interests around kayaking. And then there's some additional supporting documents that links to Word CV, to a copy of our Employability Eco System, just to show what else it can support. So you start to get a richer content. You can then see your hobbies, your job preferences, and only then does it go down and talk about education, qualifications, and employment history. Because for us, the important thing is about those natural talents and how they are displayed. So, final bit I would just show you before I pass on to somebody else's voice, which I'm sure you'll be keen to hear, is how does this work when we are linking to jobs and other opportunities? Now, what I'm actually going to do is dip out of this and dip into my own profile and just show you what that looks like in terms of associated jobs and some of the functionality there. So bear with me just 1 second. Nikki, I don't know if you can entertain the audience whilst I'm doing this in some way.
I don't think tap dancing on the table would work, actually. I should have brought something that I could make, couldn't I? Use my creativity bit. I could have,
absolutely,
crafted something while I was waiting. But and I'm not going to sing, so apologies. I won't be doing that.
Okay, I'm almost there. Don't worry. Keep going. You're doing well.
Good. No questions so far, but if you have got any, please shout. Put them into the chat box. I'm keeping an eye just in case anybody fires any at us. But everybody's very quiet at the moment, so fingers crossed.
For so long, that's probably why. Okay, so I'm just going to share my profile and just show you some of the additional functionality and feature sets. So I'm now in mine, which is slightly different. Just to show you what it looks like. So same sort of layout, got a little bit more information, a very different word cloud from Tony's, some different imagery, some different video stuff, etc., etc. But what I want to show you is from your dashboard, you can access jobs and other opportunities. You can send your profile to an employer. You can set up automatic alerts to your profile if a job matches you. You can even change the color of all of the icons and all of the displays throughout the profile. And that was feedback from the Send community that they didn't like yellow. They wanted a different color. So you can have whatever color you like. But in terms of the job piece, which is really important, this is about positive outcomes. what the system does is it matches your talents with the talents for the jobs that have been put into the back end of the system by employers and by partners. So there's a couple here that have matched to some of my talents. You can manually search all of the jobs in the database and manually apply for a job if you believe that you would be good and suitable for it, and that will attach your profile to your application. And you can also search for other associated jobs out in the wide world. And we've been having discussions with a variety of job boards about the potential for linking up with additional jobs out there that would match talents. So in the background, we have sets of talents associated with a whole range of different job roles, career types. And the system here will then, if we take this one as an example, will then link up to jobs out in the market that share that same job title and hence the same set of talents that you have within your profile. That will then take you straight away. I don't know if it is showing the Monster login here, and it will show you a whole list of 9,799 jobs on the Monster job board that match my talents and that job title that the system has matched me to. It will also match you to other jobs in the system specifically. Okay. So the job matching and the outcome piece is really important. You can link to the job. We've got employers who are working with the Mayor's Construction Academy. This is a demo version at the moment, but just showing you some of the content you can have on here. And I've messed the layout out by playing around with it this afternoon. Apologies, Darren, but that we will sort out. But it will show you and present to you, matched on your talents, jobs in the system or jobs external to naturally talented me that could be good opportunities. And those don't have to be jobs. They can be work experience, apprenticeships, Kickstarter opportunities, as I say, a whole raft of other opportunities. Okay. Have I missed anything, Nikki, in terms of the features and what we wanted to share?
Did you want to just quickly show the construction page so that it gives a view of how that will work?
I will show that as soon as I've linked up with Darren, who I can see is sitting in his car waiting for me to call on him. And as you can see, he is legendary and handsome and 6'1¼ as he asked me to say. But bear with me just one second. I'm just going to share my screen once more and then I will put Darren on the call. I'm almost there. Making a bit of a pig's ear of this, but I'm almost there. Okay, so formally, let me introduce Darren Hardy, who hopefully will be able to talk to us from his mobile. He's been a fantastic ambassador for us, and I will leave him to explain what this is on the screen and what it means to him and his partnership with us. Darren, can you hear us?
Yep, got you, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. So afternoon, guys. Yeah, apologies. I'm sat in a car. I'm somewhere in Norfolk in a wood block. But it's there's reasons why I'm up here. So which hopefully will come on to. So I've been training for an upcoming event. However, I came across Nick 4 or 5 months ago, maybe, Nick.
Yeah. And
naturally talented me and where it was sort of coming. And my background have been in the military for 15 years and unfortunately being discharged through PTSD and a shoulder injury resulting in a replaced shoulder and seeing the good work that naturally talented me were doing for veterans as well as other sort of areas within the industry. You know, as you mentioned, the SEN, your ex-offenders, etc. Really resonated with me, and that's why I wanted to get on board and really try and sort of push it out through my own stuff. So myself, as I said, it was 15 years in the army. I've been out for 3 years now and I work for Scanskin Construction. However, in the background and hopefully to be doing full-time pretty soon, I do sort of ultra extreme endurance events, ranging from on the left, as you can see with the Union Jack behind. That was a VE day 75-mile run on a treadmill in pitch black, carrying 35 pounds. And that was a blog written up on that through my own sort of my adventures, my sort of talents that fall out, determined the adventure focus, and it independent. It was all done by myself, set up by myself, and really trying to raise the awareness of the isolation at the time and mindset. And because I struggle with PTSD, I want to raise the awareness of what I do to fix say manage me, and what I do and how I can share that with the rest of the world, which sort of leads into the next challenge. And one of the big things that jumped out of me, which I didn't think would have when I did the sort of I don't want to call it a test, but assessment maybe to find out who I was free thinking. And pretty much all the events from being in the Arctic in January to the one I'm about to undertake on Sunday has all been free thinking. I've made it up. I've just completely, as some would say, cuff it. But there is some sort of style in behind that cuffing. And on Sunday, I'm doing 10 Ironman distance triathlons in 10 days in 10 locations around the UK, which has not been done before. And it's 2,260 kilometers. And my free thinking talent has started to really come into play this week, as a couple of the venues have dropped out, and I'm really trying to think what I can do and how I can best promote it to help everyone else, I suppose, and share that sort of free thinking talent. I was unaware that I had it, and it's something, I suppose, from again maybe my military background or just what I'm trying to inspire and who I'm trying to achieve as well, is where it's fallen out of, really. I don't really know much more, Nick, on how you want me maybe a cue, mate.
No, that's a great intro to you and how your natural talents, some are very obvious and they come from your background in the military, but some of the others are things that maybe, as you said, were unearthed by doing the profile process, and you can now draw on those more confidently because you know they exist there and you're more aware of them. And I think that's the point that we're making here, is that some of these talents will be potentially hidden, latent talents that you weren't even sure yourself you had, never mind potential employers or work experience contacts. So by being more aware of them, you can then use them more confidently. And it's absolutely going to be drawn upon for this next challenge, Darren, and my hat off to you for even attempting it. The final one is I believe in the London Eye, where you'll be running a marathon on a treadmill, cycling 180 kilometers on a turbo bike, having swum 3.8 kilometers in a local swimming pool. And don't forget, you'll have done 9 of those the previous 9 days. So phenomenal challenge. All the best with it, and really thanks for being a great ambassador for us and what we're about.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I suppose you've hit the nail on the head there of it's until you realize you've got it. And it's suppose a good way to put it is, you've got a toolbox, and how you know how to then use those tools within that box, you can use them to your advantage. Instead of using the other end of a screwdriver as a hammer, which I do occasionally, I realize I've got a hammer, and then how to use it. And when you actually go through the process and filling it out, things like curious is one that popped up with me. And actually, when you're trying to think, oh, why am I curious? And well, then when I go on holiday or go around the world on these adventures, I'm very curious of the locals and what they do and how they live, and I try and live that. So that's where it comes out of. So it's just those little ones you said, it's pulling these out and actually realizing that I've got them, and then can share with future employers.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping on the call. I know you've been super busy today, so thank you very much for that. And if you're able to hang on, there may be some questions, I'm sure, but appreciate if you need to dash, then that's good. You probably ought to go and do some training, to be fair. So
yeah, I'll hold on for a bit.
Alrighty, thank you. The next bit I just want to share with you is as Nikki was suggesting, is around the construction link up. And before I pass on to Amanda or Alison from MCA, I'm just going to show you what this looks like and how this partnership and association with the construction industry and the Mayor's Construction Academy and LSBU, how that works. So I will just link to this now. Bear with me just 1 second again. I'll pass over to you, Nikki, if actually, I think I'm about to share it. Here we go. So our partnership with the Mayor's Construction Academy came about looking at how we can attract more people into construction as a sector. And the Mayor's Construction Academy is representing that sector. And I'm sure Amanda will talk more about that. So I'm not going to steal her thunder. But the way it works is they are representing that sector. So there's some information on a direct ring-fenced website. You can go into construction as a part of the Naturally Talented Me platform. And from within there, you can access a whole host of generic careers. So what sort of opportunities may exist within construction? So for example, there's some bricklayer apprentice type opportunities here. And this talks about what they are, but here's where we start pulling the natural talents together. So we're looking for accuracy, cooperation, being ordered, practical and reliable. And there's some context around that in terms of, well, what does that mean in the job? And it's these talents that then match up with the talents for individuals building their profiles on the other side of naturally talented me. And it's those bricklayer apprentice opportunities that will be presented to individuals within the right locations who have got those matched talents, with an opportunity for them then to apply. So it's a little bit more sophisticated maybe than, oh, and I've just gone out the wrong place, apologies. It's pretty normal. You still see my screen?
Yep, we sure can. Had a few questions, but I think I've answered them directly. They're just
okay.
General questions, so we're okay at the moment.
Okay, excellent. And then you can also, not just the careers, can you still see my screen, the careers page?
Yeah.
Yep. You can then see specific jobs from partners within and sitting under the Mayor's Construction Academy and LSBU. And these are then some of the roles that some of their associated employer partners are actually offering. So live job opportunities within that sector. So you can go through and you can see information about different sorts of roles. And generally you can find out more about those opportunities as you go through. Maybe some better examples. Here we go. So project coordination, for example, with the job description, some video content, you can see the job details, you can see who it's from, and then you can apply. So there's an apply button at the bottom, and apply for the job, and that then will attach your profile and send it to that employer, making sure that they're aware of your particular natural talents. Okay, so what I would like to do, having just shown you very quickly the construction pages and the link up with the Mayor's Construction Academy, is if I can pass over to either Amanda or Alison, just have a quick chat about how that partnership is working and what they hope to get out of working in partnership and in alignment with Naturally Talented Me. Are you with us, Amanda?
Alison is.
Alison, sorry.
Alison's there.
Yes, sorry. I wasn't sure it was going to be myself or Amanda, but yes, I will speak for LSBU. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Alison, and I'm Group Director for Apprenticeships for the London South Bank University Group. This includes the university, obviously, but also Lambeth College and our secondary academy and our UTC, so University Technical College. So we see ourselves as an educational family. And in terms of how this works with Naturally Talented Me, we are also a lead for a Mayor's Construction Academy. So the Mayor's Construction Academy, we're one of, I believe now, 11 construction academies, which is a GLA sponsored project across London. And it's a 3-year project where we're really aiming to kind of coordinate and strengthen the construction training offer for our respective areas. So for London South Bank University, we are leading the Mayor's Construction Academy for South London. So we're very much focused on our local boroughs of Southwark, Lewisham, Lambeth, but also Greenwich and Wandsworth. And as part of this project, Naturally Talented Me really appealed to us, and for some quite obvious reasons, I think. We know, particularly in the last 6 to 7 months, the economy, both nationally and locally, is facing a massive challenge. We can see that unemployment is rising. It's at 4.5% at the moment, and that will continue to rise, unfortunately. And we know, particularly with South London, that some of the patterns of unemployment that are happening nationally, i.e. young people being disproportionately impacted, and those with low skills and perhaps few or none qualifications are also being disproportionately negatively impacted. And I suppose it was these two groups that we really felt Naturally Talented Me could really assist the Mayor's Construction Academy with. Because as you can see, what Nikki and Nick have gone through today, it's really a basis for us to really, through the Mayor's Construction Academy, engage with clients who might not necessarily have a traditional qualification base, and this may be for various reasons, including age. They're young, they're coming into a workforce. And what we liked about Naturally Talented Me is it really allows that that client group to really recognise what their value is in the labour market and directly match them up with those opportunities. And obviously for us, those opportunities being construction. So it was really exciting, I think, for us to really work with Nikki and Nick together to develop this. And I'm really pleased today that you can see how it's coming together. And our hope is, we're looking at running the project for an additional year, that across the boroughs that we work in South London, that this will really help us to bring together that talent and obviously the opportunities that we know are still available in the construction industry. I'll hand over back to you, Nikki and Nick.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your insight and as I say, the partnership and how we're going to evolve that over the next coming weeks and months and hopefully longer. So just a couple of final things I want to share with you before I pass over to Henry. Just give him a bit of a heads up that his time is almost upon us. I'm just going to share my screen once more. Hopefully. Let me know when you can see the slides. Is that still showing, Nikki? The slide's showing, Nikki.
No, sorry, you're still on the construction page.
Okay.
Sorry, I was typing some answers in the questions.
Oh, right. There we go. Okay. So hopefully you should see a schools and intervention organisation slide. Is that showing?
Yep, sure is.
Okay,
well, the link to it. The link to it is, yeah.
So this is really just a bit of insight into how it might work if you are operating within a school or a college, or if you're running an intervention opportunity. So it could be that you're working with a cohort of disadvantaged youth, and that I'll pass on to Henry to talk about some of the work that he and his foundation are doing in a moment. But this example that I've got here is sort of an extended URL or website address that we would set up for any communities that want to manage their individuals locally and to be able to intervene and provide support and mentoring. So we're talking to a number of schools at the moment. Sunnydown is a particular autistic school based in Caterham, just down the road from where I am. And they've really embraced the whole concept around Naturally Talented Me to help their students stand out when maybe the label of being autistic has stood in their way. And what ends up happening, you click through to the ring-fenced URL, and that collects all of your individuals within your community in one place where you can view their profiles with your own systems administration login. You can access their profiles to advise on content and how to improve them and how to add additional information and bits and pieces. And you can also advise when they are ready to be published, and you can control that as an administrator for your community. So if there are particular individuals that require greater support than maybe others, then ring fencing that community could be the best way to do that, and we have that facility set up. Associated with it is all the reporting in terms of how many have completed, what are the demographics of those individuals, what's the talent mix that you have within that community, which also means that it can be used for employers to talent map their existing employee base to understand what talent matrix they have, where they have potential shortfalls in potential talent for future upcoming roles that they may be recruiting for, and even to use it to identify any underrepresentation in potentially some of the protected characteristics. So it may be that you have a shortfall in women over 50 with a talent of confidence and team building, for example, and that can help inform the way you go to market to advertise for those individuals with the imagery, with the communities you approach, and how you target particular talent pools for the skills and the backgrounds that you're looking for. So that whole community piece and intervention and school piece is a really powerful part of Naturally Talented Me. So what I'd like to do now is we've got a couple of other people who are much more interesting to listen to than me. I'd like to pass on to Henry Glynn to introduce himself from the Change Foundation. I'm pretty sure he's joined us now. Henry, are you there?
I am indeed. Can you hear me okay, Nick? My Wi-Fi is playing up a little bit.
You're a little crackly.
Am I a bit robotic?
You are a bit robotic, but we'll persevere.
We'll try and persevere. Sorry about that. It's technology's got a funny way of failing you at times when you need it, isn't it?
Henry, do you want to try turning the video off? Sometimes that works. Just keep your mic on, but have the video off. Sometimes it works. I'm not.
Yeah, how's that?
Better.
It'd be better. Okay, fantastic. Oh, you probably got see my ugly mug anyway. Hi guys, as Nick said, my name's Henry Glynn. So I work for a charity called the Change Foundation. So we've been established for coming up to almost 40 years, and we're a London-based charity that uses sports to change the lives of marginalised young people. So we deliver targeted long-term interventions for some of the most vulnerable young people in our communities through coach mentors with real lived experience, and we provide them with regular sport, personalised mentoring and work-related opportunities. Now, two of our biggest programmes, one called Street Elite and the other called London Futures, both have an employability focus to them. Now, Street Elite works with young people on the edges of gangs and criminality and supports them over a 9-month process into employment. And the need to eat transition rate for that is 79%, which is incredibly high for that cohort. London Futures is a disability employability program, again, supporting young people who have a range of different disabilities, be it visual impairment or a learning disability or physical disability. Again, very much so, we look to use sport as a tool to progress them into employment. So we got to know the team at Naturally Talented Me about a year ago now, and we're immediately impressed with the platform and the aspiration, the vision really for what team at Naturally Talented Me are looking to achieve. This is something which I think is incredibly needed in my experience of working in the youth sector and supporting vulnerable young people who are facing many barriers to employment. To get over the line and not just get a job but get a career, it's very challenging, and particularly in these times. That's why I think this is such a brilliant platform at this given time. As Nick was mentioning earlier, we know that COVID has decimated certain sectors, and it's harder than ever for young people to take their first step on the career ladder. So any additional support that we can provide to put them in the best possible position for that is brilliant. Now, one thing that we've learned over the years from delivering our work, we work with thousands of young people a year, is that there's no shortage of talent out there, but there's a real disconnect between the young people with raw talent and an incredible skill set and some great employment attributes who don't necessarily fit the traditional mold, if you like. They've got all the skills that employers are looking for, but because they lack in educational background and qualifications, and more often than not, the young people we work with, they have a very limited or no job history at all. A traditional CV, through a traditional CV, it's very hard to sell them. And what this platform does is it enables us to really advertise them to the working world, and will really help us in gaining some brilliant opportunities going forward. So we are looking to roll this out across our major programs this year. And yeah, we're really thrilled to be part of this moving forward. I think it's got huge potential, and we've seen it year upon year with young people for our programs who, again, their CV is incredibly limited, but they have no shortage of raw talent and ability. And when we have got them into employment, they've just flown, absolutely flown. We're talking about young people who, again, maybe, live in the same household 3 generations who've never worked. They are the first person to obtain a job. Now, within 3 years, they've we were talking about the construction sector a second ago. You know, we've had young people in our programs who have come in at an entry-level labouring level. They've then been awarded an apprenticeship in a particular trade on the site, and now they've progressed into a trainee site management position, you know, all within a few years. We've got young people, again, who are working for FTSE 100 property developers in a senior positions now. Now, they are young people without any formal qualifications when they joined the programme, but they were given an opportunity and they were presented in the best way possible, which has enabled them to thrive. So I think, again, I'll stop waffling on now, but I think this is what this platform will do so brilliantly well, and we can't wait really to kind of unleash it with all the young people we work with currently through London, Birmingham, Newcastle, and help advertise them to the world and enable them with the best possible opportunities to thrive.
Wonderful. And the benefit of us partnering with the likes of Henry and TCF particularly is the link that you already have with employers, the fact that there is a potential warm connection that already like the thought of taking cohorts from your programs, and what this will offer them is an even greater insight into the real potential. So that employer intervention, individual link up, that sort of three-way partnership is really powerful for us and a really instrumental part of the model. So thank you so much for your continued support. It's really appreciated. So I'd quite like to pass on now. I'm just going to try and share my screen to introduce them properly. I'm almost there. Famous last words again. Hopefully you can see my screen. So I'd like to introduce Suzanne from Essex County Council, which is another partnership that's been bubbling under for a while now, and is really starting to gather momentum. And I'd be really, really pleased to hear from Suzanne about her thoughts of the platform and what potential there may be in terms of the partnership.
And just as well to jump in, Jonathan actually attended our May launch, and he's been a great advocate in supporting us through as well. So it's good for us that we've actually got somebody who came for our first launch and has stayed with us since. So it's a great testament for us that he's stuck with us, and Suzanne and the team have now really and truly embracing it. So I will be quiet now.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, as Nikki said, I'm Suzanne Davis, High Needs Funding and Targeted Employment Manager in Essex County Council. Most of you'll know Essex is a large local authority with a range of objectives and statutory duties to fulfil as expected of every local authority. But about 2 years ago, we set up a dedicated team to look at targeted employment, and that's two of my colleagues here today. As Nikki said, Jonathan and Emma are part of the targeted employment team. But we were set up with a clear and a clean slate. We were set up with no particular barriers or initiatives or obstacles for us to work with. We were basically given the permission to, if we carry on doing what we do, we'll get the same result. And the same result is for young people with education, health and care plans, or filling off the Children's and Families Act. They're not getting into employment. And we were basically set up to go away and look at different ways of bringing back to Essex how we can create a different landscape for people of Essex to give them a better opportunity to be able to be more supportive, excuse me, as they move into their adulthood. So we sit in a SEND strategy and innovation team, and innovation's the critical word for us. And as Nikki said, Jonathan attended the event earlier this year, and he came back to me and said, Suzanne, you've got to look at this a bit more. You've got to listen a bit more. We've got to investigate it a bit more. We're not quite sure where it works, but we know it's part of the our vision, or aligned to our visions as we take this forward. And we've been working with Naturally Talented Me over the last few months, really, over how we can support some of the work and the visions that we have in Essex, and how we can align our processes and our ways of working together to allow that opportunity for people to progress out of education into employment. What I would just add to that is part of my role is I have a matrix management, so I sit across social care as well, so children's, young people and adults, so I'm aligned into all of them. So whatever we develop in Essex, we're very clear that there's a route through to adults as well, and we're not developing something that has a cliff edge to it, and then when you leave education, so what? Where do you start again? So what we really liked about the Naturally Talented Me, and one of the things that we're always looking out for, is things that aren't limited by age or limited by your label. And obviously Naturally Talented Me and the platform doesn't have that. So that's where one of the key aspects for us moving forward is. But I guess where we are currently is we are looking at, in Essex, we are developing pathways to employment, and our vision is that every young person entering post-16 in education will have a pathway to employment, a journey mapped out for them, and what that looks like, aligned to all the things that we've talked about, Gatsby's benchmarks and et cetera, et cetera. But I guess where we're thinking is that we're a very big authority, and one of the things that would really work for us as an authority is how we could use that information around those young people smarter to support our commissioning. And by that, what I mean is young people or even older people that are using services already have a lot of assessments around them, but they sit they can be fantastic assessments, but they sit pretty in somebody else's files or in a database and things like that. So how do you actually use that smartly as an authority to commission services that actually people want? And that's where we're coming in with Naturally Talented Me, is to support that data profiling, that mapping, that matching, and how we're able to align people's journeys through adulthood and into their adulthood and beyond, with the opportunities for employment. So that's sort of where we're working at currently. And Nikki and Naturally Talented Me have been fantastic in supporting some of our development projects that we have going forward as well. And so we're also linking to an employers forum, and we're talking to employers and saying, what do you want? And what we're hearing from employers, actually, believe it or not, and you guys probably all know this, is they don't always want CVs. They don't really mean anything. They want to be able to know that the person's got the skill or that talent to do that task or activity. And obviously that's what we can see through the development of this platform, and how we would be looking at supporting some of the activities moving forward in our initial stages to look at this new route of employment and pathways for people of Essex with either a vulnerability, a barrier or a disability moving forward. Does that capture everything, Nikki?
No, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. And it's been a great journey. I think we've had lots of conversations about various different paths that you've been looking at. So we're really pleased to have you as a partner and to be working with you. And hopefully in the next few months or so, there'll be lots more activities with things like Kickstart, for example. So thank you very much. No, we really appreciate that. And yeah, it's great news for us to have you all on board.
Absolutely. I'll echo all of that. So I've only got one final sort of finishing statement, which is a summary of how potentially the platform could be used for all different sort of individuals and organizations. So I don't know whether there's any outstanding questions that we haven't answered yet, or anybody who wants to pipe up and ask a question on video, etc. Please do. Is there anything unanswered yet, Nikki?
No, there's been a lot of questions about, are we looking for more users or more employers? I think that's quite an interesting question, and I think one of the things that I've mentioned in the chat is that, if you build it, they will come. We're really looking for a mix of it all, but from our perspective, it's how can we have the biggest impact and the best outputs, and that's really where we're looking at the moment. So that's all about potentially individuals, giving them positive outcomes, but also about helping employers to find that new talent pool. So actually it's both. But, you know, our ethos is all about making sure that people that come into this come out with something that's of value for them and supports them in lots of different ways. It doesn't have to be a job. It could be, you know, the reality of understanding what your talents are and what opportunities there are out there for you. So it is very much about that outcome, that positive outcome. So, you know, the more we can do that, the more, you know, we're going to get people using and working with us and supporting us. So that's really, I think, the biggest driver. I think that's the main pieces that have come out of this, and I do thank you for those who have reached out to me directly.
Question from Kathy.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry, Nikki and Nick, I've met you before. This is amazing, and I just cannot believe what you've managed to achieve in a relatively short period of time in the most amazing, challenging times, and credit to you both. But my question is what plans do you have in the future around ensuring that the platform is going to be more accessible to thinking around the SEN community? A lot of that SEN community has quite a lot of problems in terms of literacy, might have things associated with dyslexia and dyspraxia. So thinking about how the website and how things look to people. I was just wondering if you had any work in train, or you were thinking around the accessibility across the whole of the SEN community.
Great question. The short answer is obviously that there is many refinements we could and should be making to make it more accessible. I mentioned a very, very minor one from everybody else's perspective in terms of some of the colors that we were using. I appreciate it. It is pretty relevant. It's pretty minor, but it's still relevant. And the way we will be able to deliver a product that's more applicable is by more conversations with more SEN schools, with more individuals who can feed that information into us. I had a really interesting dialogue with quite a celebrity on LinkedIn who you may know of, a guy called Alex Manners, who stands out very, very well on LinkedIn. He's very active about how we can maybe share some of his content around how do you interact as an employer with individuals with autism? How do you interview? How do you set the scene? What sort of questioning should you be asking? So trying to feed a lot of that insight and intelligence into the platform is absolutely the way forward. I know Darren, our technical partner, has got many eyes on many different technologies and other accessibility elements in relation to the platform. So it can never be all things to everybody, but we absolutely should be accommodating certainly the communities we're looking to support the most. Work in progress. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the question. I've got one evolution of a question for Kathy, just quickly, who was asking about what options are there to offer the platform as part of the application and hire process within existing job platform processes. And I know Kathy, you and I have been having conversations about how do we link up Naturally Talented Me with job boards, for example, the Caterer job board that you guys run. And the possible one way of doing it is we can bring in those job roles from your job board, but we can also offer to your employers a secondary stage, a phase of when you have a long list of candidates, you may wish to then offer them the opportunity to complete a profile as that second assessment part, to say, you look great based on your CV. Now I'd like to know a little bit more about you. And we can work with you to integrate those offerings. That might be a way forward, but be very open to conversations about how we can work closely together, because definitely we're better as a team than we are operating individually. Anything else from anybody?
So I have a question.
Hello, Angela.
Hi, I work in a special school, and currently I'm thinking about putting this out there with our Year 11 groups. But obviously a lot of those students are very vulnerable if we were to give them access to social media, and we'd have to do that piece of work with parents. So have you had any kind of safeguarding issues, like working with that kind of vulnerable age group?
So we've not as yet. We've certainly allow the ability to disable certainly the sharing of profiles within communities. So we can set up those individual controls. I'm sure Darren will give me a shout if I'm saying something that we can't do in the background. But certainly it is possible to control what content is visible to a greater and lesser extent, particularly around vulnerability for contact and sharing of inappropriate content. So it can be in control of the mentor or the career advisor within the school to allow the publishing or not of profiles.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer it? That might have been a bit waffly.
No, it's good.
Okay, thank you.
And one other question was about commercial elements, so charge to employers, etc.
Yeah.
If you want to I'm just filled in a couple of questions. So if you can you just touch on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, sure. So there are charges for the employer to post a job and to build a profile, and those prices are available on the website. What I don't want to do is share them now and then get it wrong. They're on the website. We've updated them very, very recently, and we can send a full service catalogue out to anybody who's interested. We believe they're very competitive from an employer point of view to expand their profile and to share jobs. And there is also, if you want a ring-fenced community, there is a charge for setting that up, to have that so you can gain your reporting, so you can view your own individual students or employees if you're an employer. And again, the prices for that are on the website or available from us, but are certainly very competitive and shouldn't be a barrier. But we are very conscious that schools don't have pots of money to be spending on external tools and platforms.
And for individual users, as mentioned before, it is free. So you as a user can go in and take advantage of that.
Indeed. So
I think we're done on questions. Yep, we're done on questions.
Okay, under 16s, no contact details, no social media visibility. The mentor can pre-approve and the school has visibility of all. So that's a little bit of clarification from Darren. Thank you for that, for you, Angela, or anybody else. And the final bit from me then is just to summarize how it can be used. So Nikki's already mentioned individuals, you can log in, absolutely free, do so. Please fill your boots. The more people using the profile and getting to understand what they're good at, the better. If you're interested in talent patronage as an organization, please do get in contact with us so that you can be associated with a talent that really reflects and resonates with your business. If you're an employer, we'd love to have more employer profiles on there and absolutely more jobs, work experiences, volunteering, internships, apprenticeships, traineeships, any ships on there would be great. So more of those, the better. If you're an intervention partner, such as a charity like Henry's or Transitions UK, who we're working with, so any other intervention partners who would like to use the tool to help their cohorts, please get in touch. And schools and colleges, absolutely, it's absolutely great for helping your individuals stand out. If you're a governing body for a sector like the Mayor's Construction Academy, who basically have an overarching role within a sector, so there's loads of sectors that we'd love more and more content and be able to share what you're looking to do within your sectors, please do get in touch with us. And finally, if you want to advertise products and services that are to do with physical, mental and emotional well-being, we're really keen to be promoting things around mental health, nutrition, well-being. I'd mentioned the work that I'm hoping to do with Alex in terms of his autism advice for employers. So we can present adverts to employers and to individuals, but they will be to do with physical, mental and emotional well-being. So that's in a nutshell, hopefully where it can be most useful. And of course, if somebody has another idea of where you think we can use it, please get in touch as well. It's nick@naturallytalentedme.com or nikki@naturallytalentedme.com or info@naturallytalentedme.com.
Brilliant.
Over to you, Nikki, to finish off. I've spoken far too much.
No, just a big thank you. Great to see everybody here, and thank you for joining us for our relaunch, which we are incredibly proud of coming so far. So thank you all. Have a good evening.
Enjoy the rest of your days and evening. Thanks all.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll catch up with you afterwards, Nikki.
Yeah, no problem.
Have you got the comments?
Yeah, I've saved the chat, so you're fine. Okay.
Thanks, Henry, if you're still there. Okay. Nick Meese, I'll buzz you later. You owe me a beer. Speak to you in a bit.